guys? Welcome back to another episode of House Rules Podcast. A little later than our usual live stream. We got a little delayed today, but we are here. We are live. I'm your host, Alex Getlin.
I'm your other host, Rachel LaForce.
And we had so much fun with our guest last week, Emily Browning, that we decided we had to bring back another guest, a new guest this week, someone I'm so excited. Truly one of our favorite people of all time, not just because she's a great soul, but she's literally the reason that Rachel and I met. So, Lizzie Weissman, how are you?
Woo! That's how I am. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah,
Oh my
we got a
gosh.
full woo.
We got a woo.
Woo, yeah.
So real quick, so a little backstory. I'll do the quick. Are you sharing to Facebook? Is that why you're on your phone?
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, if you guys are watching, if you like our show, please share with your friends. Please go on iTunes and rate and subscribe. Share it on Spotify. Follow us on Facebook. All that good stuff. But anyway, so pre-COVID, Rachel and I were stand-up comics. Stand-up is kind of gone now, so, you know.
Pre-COVID, we were stand-up
Yeah.
comics.
I mean, I love stand-up, but it's like, where is it now, you know?
Zoom.
So anyway.
It's on Zoom.
Yeah. No,
it's happening online everywhere.
no thanks. But anyway, Lizzie is one of my OG LA comedy homies. We were doing a show at your house kind of every few months, which is kind of a thing. And we were like, let's do a show. So we did a show at your house. And I booked a couple comics. You booked a couple comics. One of those
Yes.
comics I never met, but I trusted your judgment because you're like, listen, I'm only going to book funny people.
Obviously.
And she booked you because you got like you worked.
So I had
Yeah.
been working at shout out to Temple of Israel in Hollywood,
Woo, woo.
TIOH.
Yeah.
And so you were working there at the time, and I was doing like enrichment there, and so we'd cross paths a couple times.
Well, because the director of the school was like, Liz, you do comedy. Like, I know this girl. She does
Yes!
comedy. She's the one. She's a science girl. You have to meet.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you're so right. So
Yeah.
then, and then like fast forward months pass, and I'm at a show. I'm doing a show at Second City, and then outside when everybody's congregating, and I think you said it's some sort of complimentary thing of nice show or something,
Yeah.
and then we were talking, and your voice was so distinct to
It's
me,
always the voice.
and I was like, dude, have we met? And then we went back and forth and we figured it out. And you were like, I quit my job. I'm doing comedy full time. And I was like, dude, we got to hang. And then, yeah, you put me on your show.
And thank God you did because I will say this, Lizzie, when we have children, God willing, knock on this table here.
You're going to name one Liz?
I do love the name Elizabeth.
I'm gonna let them know. We'll call you Aunt Liz when you meet him.
Oh, I'm
you
only
know,
Auntie Liz,
and be
that's who I
like,
am.
listen, if it wasn't for Auntie Liz, you would not exist because it's very unlikely your mom and I would have met. Tony, you're a new dad.
Fresh dad.
Oh,
Fresh dad.
Yeah.
How fresh?
He's about to be a year next month.
Oh,
Dude, I've been creeping Tony's Insta stories. Your son is so cute,
Thanks,
like super
man. I
cute.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
I was a preschool teacher. I was a nanny. I think, you know, like they say 10,000 hours, you're a professional.
Yeah.
I've changed so many shitty diapers. Like, I am a fucking professional.
You're
I-
ready to do
my
it.
first
Oh.
diaper was my son's. I put his
Really?
first diaper on. It was the first diaper I ever put on and like changed.
Did you
so.
gag?
No, it was like funny. It just kind of all your senses just are like overloaded with love.
Yeah.
So I'm not like grossed out. And usually I'm a finicky person with that kind of shit. but
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Well,
You were like, oh my God, he's pooping.
my
we
baby.
made him and he's pooping.
It all works.
yeah. That's what all my friends who've had kids are like. Honestly, when it's your kid, it doesn't even. You're just so happy.
Well,
that
and I feel like you have to have that feeling of like, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
because it's like actually the first thing that like you're making. Like it's almost like when you build. I'm not kidding. Like having a child to an IKEA dresser, but stay with me. Where like
They're exactly
you
the same
put it
thing.
together and then you're like you open a drawer and you put it back. Okay, it works. It works. Like
There
that's
you
how I
go.
feel like the first time. Like you know.
So we like to do a lot of games here
Yes,
on
I
House Rules Podcast.
love
Sometimes we get super serious, but sometimes we do a lot of fun, different segments and games. So this is a
Alex
segment.
gets upset when we get too serious.
Well, I don't get upset. I just think that.
Alex upset? Never.
Oh, shush. I don't mind it.
I
but
will say, wait, I gotta say before we start this
All
game,
right.
that is my favorite thing about the fact that you guys were so close because you're the only like female
Yes.
friend
Oh,
that
yeah.
like a strong like good friend that Alex has, and so
you like actually know me.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
sometimes I feel like when I start to feel, I'm like, am I crazy that I think Alex is like kind of being a little
I
ridiculous
was like,
about
no,
this?
girl, I see you.
And then I
see
think
you.
about you and you're like, yeah, dude, he needs to chill.
No, but here's the difference. It's like because Liz and I put on shows together, so she saw me in like stress producer
Right.
mode and like running around and trying.
He needs the chill pill.
I know.
tattoo. You
I was
guys
talking
should
about
get
off
matching.
air. I was saying I want a new tattoo that says chill pill.
Get matching
Yeah.
ones, you know.
Yeah, you said you think Rachel calmed me
God.
down. What did you say? You think
Totally.
you knew me for a while before I met Rachel?
Yeah, I mean, like, love you, but like the anxiety like permeated like in
Oh,
the room.
it's still real.
Liz,
walked into a
Liz, we're
cloud.
Jews. This
It's
is in our
true.
people.
It's
You
true.
understand?
It's passed down. It's
Yeah.
passed down.
It's part of our heritage.
But yeah, when you like find your person, I think you kind of the balance and like you
Yeah.
kind of calm down because your energy is being put there in a way.
Yeah.
Not all of it, but some of it. You know?
Totally.
Well, it's interesting that like his anxiety somehow, I've now like learned to Jedi mind trick myself, to where, because sometimes it'll like heighten mine because I can feel it off of him and it feels like a pressure cooker. And now I'm trying to find a way of like when I feel his rise, like can I bring mine down?
Yes.
So now it's like a Jedi mind trick exercise for myself.
Okay, true, valid, fair, accurate. I just want to say it goes both ways. Like,
Right, I just said I have a lot of anxiety as well.
no, I know. So like I've
Okay.
learned, yeah.
I mean, I'm like better. Do you know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's what the
She's
takeaway
worked on
is.
herself. No, I'm just
So-
kidding.
Well, she has. I'm proud of her.
Well,
you
my,
know.
my ex would always say to me, like, oh, I've never been an anxious person. You make me anxious. I was like, wait a minute. When you were signing up for classes, I saw your leg bouncing. You were sweating. Things were happening. And I had to sit there and be like, we're going to work it out. It's going to be like, I know what you mean, trying to bring it down. 'Cause
Yeah.
mine could go up there too.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a lot. Like it is. That's funny. I feel like if my anxiety had a voice, it would just be like, that's mine.
Mine would just, mine was like, it's like constant. Just,
I
like,
know,
going.
but it is interesting because it is such a frequency, and I think
Mhm.
that's the thing because Alex and I are so in tune with each other, and just naturally carry a lot of energy.
Yes.
Same, right? As
Yes.
like performers, you just like you wear it. It's just a part of you. Like there's not a lot, so I feel like sometimes like our energies enter the room before.
Mhm.
And his is where like I'll know when he's about 6 to 8 feet before he gets to the door. Like I can just
can
feel
feel
him, and I'm
it.
like, all right, he's here.
I've had
Yeah,
people think
that
I'm
I
taller.
thought was weird. You're like,
Oh,
I can.
energy.
Yeah, you say when I'm in the hallway, you can like tell I'm coming.
Oh yeah, because it feels like a Viking is coming home.
Okay, well,
All right, what's your game?
What's the
okay.
game?
So this is a
Game,
new
game.
game. This is the first week we've premiered this game.
What?
Yeah, this
so
is a new game.
excited.
Okay. So Rachel's super into astrology. I think it's a little ridiculous. And so you're into astrology, right?
I mean, like I'm a halfie, I guess.
A halfie,
A halfie,
alright.
like into it. Like my first tattoo ever is Gemini twins on my back.
Okay.
It's
here
kind of
for
in a heart
this.
shape. I would show you, but I'm wearing a one piece, so otherwise I'll be naked. And my
Fair.
sister goes, "What are those African lesbians?" And I was like,
Oh my
"What?" I'm like,
Weird,
"What?"
weird question.
That's what she brought. I was like, I mean, if they were, they're beautiful, but I'm very.
I
happy.
also love that was her like connection.
yeah.
Well, so
Well, you should see
Alright.
them. It's like they're black and gold and purple. It's like a
so
Oh, it's a colored tattoo.
yes.
okay. So here's
Ooh.
the deal. So I always feel like
Wait, so you don't subscribe, but you have a tattoo. That seems like very.
But I subscribe in a sense. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, my ex and I broke up, and I looked up like, what's the compatibility of Gemini and Scorpios? Like, I'll look.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Scorpios are super intense, but so are Geminis.
Exactly.
what's the compatibility of Taurus and Pisces? Because that's us.
Well, it's interesting. It's
I
kind
just know
of
my shit. I
it's
don't know
kind
about anybody else's.
it's relatively in the middle. I actually haven't looked it up, but like my mom is a Pisces.
Yeah.
And so the main thing is simply like
Your mom and I are very different.
right, but the idea of like you both carry major dualities. And so the duality, I won't speak of my mom's because she's not choosing to be on a public platform. Hi Sue, I'm sure she's watching.
We love
but
you.
But your duality, right, is like hyper like masculine energy with also this like very tender heart, right?
So
It's a
Yeah,
very, very
accurate.
so tender.
I know it's
I
very
so
very
tender.
lovely. But it's this
I am.
duality.
I'm a sensitive little bird.
Right, but that's great. And it's also like I think it's really good and I think it'll be good for if we have boys to be able to show them as well of like you're welcome to take stock of your internal being and also like be a boy. Like if we have a very like
Yeah.
I think that that's important of teaching.
My dad's a pretty emotional guy, but like I think in a healthy way.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
good.
just saying that's where it comes from.
yeah.
Yeah.
But your dad also has that I don't want to say bullish, but that he's very assertive and
Yeah.
very like when he goes after something, but it's what made him really great in his career and like I think is continuing to like help him like find things he's very passionate about, etc. So anyway, it is that duality of
Yeah,
of
he
a
just sent.
Pisces.
We have a
What does he-
family.
yeah.
We have a family text thread, and he just sent Rachel this whole long thing about like why Jews stomp on the glass and where like
Uh-huh,
know,
and where it comes from. and
yeah, the
everything.
tradition
but that was so
behind it.
nice because we
Yeah.
were talking about adding that it's like the final
Oh my God, you
of
know-
our
We're doing like
I'm like, you have to. You don't have to, but you have to.
I
Like,
know.
it's, like,
So
such a
we're
nice
excited.
tradition.
Well, it's just kind of like this balance of like a lot of different religious and like spiritual takes. So just trying to like find a way to balance them out. It's basically I'm doing a running order for my wedding. It's like what I feel where I'm like,
What's
okay,
gonna go
this
in the
person's high
middle?
energy, then this person, like it's literally how
I
I'm doing
love
the
it.
outline.
Yeah, your mom will
Um,
speak, your dad will speak. It'll be like a little bit of everything, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so back to the game.
Okay.
So
Wait, we're playing a game?
yeah, I know we keep getting off. We get off task a lot, but this game is called Find the Sign. So I think you
I
could.
saw the sign.
There you
and
go.
it opened up my eyes.
And I am happy now living without you. Let me oh, oh.
That was adorable.
I'm just saying.
But I'm going to read a horoscope here, and I want to see if you guys can guess what the sign is.
Sure, but can I
that goes
also
with the
just say, because
Okay.
I know this is really fun for you, me not being able to guess has nothing to do with, well, no, because a sign doesn't have any, you could tell me an attribute of somebody, or
Okay.
you could give me a celebrity and have me guess based off of my knowledge who they are, but you just reading an innocuous, because also horoscopes change based off of where the planets
you're
are.
already
Like,
preparing to not
like
get it
what
right.
time?
What if
No, I'm totally down to have this be fun. I'm simply saying I don't want to present something. And I'm
All
also
right.
not saying that like astrology is like a foolproof science. It's not a science, but the energy.
Can I quote you on that?
Sure, but the energy of where like the planets are and everything like that. Like if you believe that nature's real, then like there's got to be an element of acknowledging patterns
Right.
of when you were born.
I mean,
Okay.
like
It's
the
very
moon,
simple.
like the waves. I mean,
Right.
it makes
Fair.
it pull. I mean, everything.
Listen, I'm
cyclical.
certainly willing to agree that there are many things in the world that I simply don't understand and can't comprehend, and astrology could be one of them. However, I'm a bit skeptical. Regardless, we're
Sure,
gonna-
it's like how I don't understand why people like Christian or country pop.
and
Like really like pop country.
oh,
Sure.
I can dig.
I was
can
gonna
dig
say
it.
you strike me as a Kenny Chesney fan.
Oh, that was the first. Okay.
Ah!
Hold on. So the first.
All right, you
country
guessed
song-
something right.
Okay,
Oh my
the-
God.
The first country song I ever heard was "She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy."
Yep. It really turns me
her
on.
Yeah, first song, and I was like, okay. And then I went to school in Kansas. So
Well,
I
there
was
you
like,
go.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
country,
yeah.
like,
Okay,
you
can
know.
we play the
You're
game?
inundated.
Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
tell me the game.
Okay, so you have to. I'm going to read the horoscope.
Okay.
And you're going to guess the sign. Tony, you can guess too. Okay. All right. So we're going to start. Here it goes. Stories from the past are great places to find inspiration for your future. So start a few conversations with family members. Ask some probing questions and try to learn as much as you can about who you used to be from their perspective. Some of what they say will probably surprise you, and some of what they say will definitely flatter you. But everything they tell you is truth. Count yourself lucky that you have so many people who care so much about you.
Those don't sound like traits.
That's what I'm saying. He's just reading somebody's weekly horoscope. We're literally just guessing.
Well, I
Yeah,
went to
but-
astrology.com.
but it
and
doesn't. But there's no correlation of what I'm saying. I'll still play the game.
well, then what's the point of the
You have to go
horoscope?
to,
But
like,
but you're not hearing what I'm saying. You're doing it backwards. So
the
the
traits
of a
idea,
Sagittarius,
yeah,
traits of
is that
this.
there are certain traits that go along with, and also like your sun sign is only part of your astrology.
Well, this game crashed and
Wait,
burned.
but I
Okay.
this
feel
is a
like
good game. This is a good. I have a
Okay.
good guess.
Okay.
Now, is it a Gemini?
What do you think?
I don't think it is.
Here's my reason for that.
No, everyone's gonna. I'm gonna have everybody guess. But
Okay.
Tony, what? Okay, you say Gemini and why?
Yeah, because it's saying look at the past and the future, right,
Mhm.
of you, and people will say there's, you're gonna get two different answers, right? So, Gemini, two personalities,
Okay.
right? Twins, huh? Anyone? No.
All right.
No.
I'm gonna say Sagittarius because when I said that, just jokingly, Alex kind of gave me a weird look, so
Okay.
I feel like I was on key there. So I'm just gonna go with that.
Oh, great. Well, I'm just gonna say that there's a new moon, so everybody should set new intentions, and then I'm just gonna guess Virgo.
Okay, and then our lovely listener, my eyes are terrible. Luann Palmanson says Aries, but the correct answer is Gemini.
Oh,
Hey!
Tony got it right.
And that's my own sign.
I know.
too.
That's
I
why.
gotta get
That's
this
why I
game.
did it. 'cause
Well,
I
that's what I was
knew-
gonna guess Taurus. So it was like, I mean, my guess is he pulled our signs.
Yeah.
No, the other. I'll spoil. I'll give one more, and it's not a Taurus.
Okay.
So I'll let you know.
See, mine. I know more about like like how my sign relates to relationships.
Right,
with
because
people,
there's
like-
because anybody
All
can
right,
write
well-
a horoscope.
Well, we'll
It
do
doesn't have
next time
anything
we
to
do this. I'll make it better. I'm sorry.
Like I like people who are like fun and outgoing, but then if they're too complacent, I get bored because a Gemini wants to have a little more action. If someone's
Yeah.
just
Sure.
like in routine all the
Yeah.
time, I would get bored.
I will say, any suitors out there, you want to get with Liz, you better handle your biz because this girl loves to go out and just put it down.
You
know what I'm
are.
saying?
You're
Yeah.
such an extrovert.
I am, but like I've been working from home for 3 years, and it's brought me like to be more introverted. I don't like that. I'm
Really?
like, I need to get the fuck out.
See, but I'm always
Yeah.
so impressed with like how much, and I could be like, projecting this onto you.
Yeah.
But I feel like how much energy you have. Like every time I look at your Instagram, like you were like, we're having a pool day. We're here. We're there. I mean, obviously, right
I'm
now it's been a little bit
tie-dyeing.
different.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that and I was like,
Oh,
oh my
thank
god, this girl. Oh, I fell in love with tie dye when we were in Georgia.
It's
okay.
fun.
You are my go-to person if I'm like, what's going on? If I would like hit
Oh.
you up. And,
Yeah, like you're always out. Like for me, I'm just like if someone's like, "How are you?" I'm like, "Good. I'm at my house. I'm happy. I don't need to."
Yeah, I mean, I just try to stay busy. Like,
well, it's hard now because
I going like I did the Lake Hollywood walk. Like,
That's
I'm
good.
just trying to stay busy. Recently single, also trying to stay busy for that reason.
you have a butt. You don't have a
I
bike,
love it.
right?
I thought you said you have a butt, and I was like, yes,
Yeah.
it's there.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Very much
Thank
so.
Very big.
Very much so.
I do not have a bike.
Okay, well, if you start biking,
Not in the city, please. I'm
You-
from here. Mm-mm.
I bike all the time. It's fine.
Mm.
Well, you're. I mean,
This, I fell off a bike in Boulder, not Boulder,
Okay.
Fort Collins. Mm-mm, no.
All right. Do you want to
No.
do one more? Or do you want to go to the next thing?
I think we should just go to the next.
All right.
thing.
All
But
right.
I would like to alter this a little bit if you want to have fun with this, and
I
I would
do.
and pick either famous people from history
That's good.
or like
Yeah,
celebrities
yeah.
or something.
we'll tweak it.
yeah, I think that's the tweet because right now it's just like an innocuous guess, so
Okay.
it doesn't make it
That's
as fun.
fair.
What's a celebrity that shares your birthday with you? Do you know?
Ooh, I don't.
You don't know.
You don't know any?
No. I don't know like a celebrity that has May 1st is their birthday.
Your birthday's May 1st.
I'll look it
Send
up right now.
gifts.
Oh, I'm June 1st.
Really?
Oh my god.
Hey.
Do you have any, Liz, that you know?
I know Alanis Morissette is June 1st.
Stop.
Yeah. There's a couple others, but I can't off the top of my head.
I love Alanis.
Okay, so
Wait,
Isn't it
Tony,
ironic?
what is your Stop. What is your sign?
I'm a Scorpio. So
Uh,
as Liz was saying, we are not compatible. And
No.
I did a similar thing too when I broke up with a girlfriend. It was actually our first date. We looked up like she had like a love sign astrology thing, and it said like this is a doomed relationship. It's gonna be peaks and valleys and like tumultuous. And then she like closed it real quick. I'm a super slow reader, and I was like, what did it say? And she's like, doesn't matter, doesn't matter. And then sure enough, like 6-8 months later, we broke up.
It's
Well.
just like you guys are very, when you're in it, and you're very intense. But the second someone crosses you, and you're like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
yeah.
You're very loyal to whatever your
but
is.
a very healed Scorpio is capable of like very, very intense long-term relationships too.
That's what I thought I had.
Yeah, but
Well-
sometimes people attribute. Like I remember I saw an article where it's like serial killers are most likely to be a Taurus, and it's like people just attribute like things to a sign. Sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think it's like 3 serial killers were Taurus, and it's like what? So that-
Virgos.
I don't
We're like
know.
a lot of
Virgos.
Virgos.
Yeah.
Our son's birthday's on the cusp, and I was like, ah, shit, we're gonna have a serial killer kid and stuff. I'm a white guy from Wisconsin. My wife's like, well, he's half black. I'm like, yeah. Google the only black serial killers from LA, from South Central.
Wait,
Born,
really?
like- yeah, born within like 2 days of my son's birthday. I'm like,
Stop.
Jesus. Yeah.
Really
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
The Grim Sleeper.
Ooh.
I'll have to look that
All
up.
The Grim,
right.
that sounds like a dope like if I was at a weed shop, it's like Grim Sleeper gonna
Yeah.
knock you on your
Yeah.
ass, bro.
That's
This
funny.
indica is
Couch
fresh.
lock.
So
Because
anyway,
to me, I just imagine it as like a DJ for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna
oh
say
yeah,
DJ.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
a SoundCloud rapper.
Yeah.
So your celebrity birthdays, you share it with Judy Collins, Tim McGraw, and
country.
Oh my god.
Wes Anderson.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I mean, Tauruses, they tend to be like a lot of artists, very grounded, love creature comforts.
Well, I only have one celebrity I share my birthday with.
Who?
Do you don't know who?
My
Oh.
sister.
Oh yeah, your sister's a late day too.
Yeah,
I've always forgot
yeah.
about that. Yeah. If anybody listening doesn't know, I'm February 29th.
Ah.
And yeah, it's very rare. There's
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of us that call us leapies. And I know it's
no one should ever
No
call
one's
you that.
ever said that.
I
I
don't
know.
think anybody's calling
I'm
you that.
making that up. But the only celebrity that shares my birthday is Firefest only. I fucked it up.
Stop.
The guy from Firefest, not the promoter guy, but the rapper Ja Rule.
Ja Rule.
Yes, me
I
and
also
Ja Rule.
love that like that's your credit now for Ja Rule.
We share her birthday.
From
Oh, for
Firefest?
Firefest?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's obviously now more famous for that than his music.
Well, yeah, because there was the reason he signed up for that whole
Right.
thing was that it had been a while.
Yeah. A hot
Yeah.
minute.
I remember one of the funniest things my dad ever said when I was in high school. There was like I don't know, it was probably Ja Rule's like first album. How many's he had? 4, maybe.
Mm, I
Probably
don't
2.
know. Let's look it up.
I was playing it in the car. Like, what? I can't even believe that my dad entertained listening to it because he was
Okay.
just like rah rah.
Yeah.
And so,
if you ever met Bert
and
LaForce, hip hop is not.
but
Oh,
I
my
just
mother
remember,
Your
too.
dad's
he-
name's Bert?
yeah,
That's a great name.
yeah, Bert
Yeah.
LaForce,
It's a
and he just
great
turns
name.
it down. He goes, ugh. I mean, if he can do it, anybody can do it.
Kind of like the presidency, right?
And I know. We're just giving that away, aren't we? Well, here's.
How many Ja Rule albums do you think there are on Spotify right now? How many do you think?
I'm going to say 2. But
think-
you just counted way more than.
I was gonna say I think majorly they were 2, like that were mainstream and people really liked.
Yeah,
But more, I'd probably say like I'm gonna go with 7.
2, 7,
I said 10.
9.
9.
Ooh.
Nine
Wow.
albums on Spotify. But to Liz's point, it's like, yeah, but like anybody can like release an album. Like you can just go in his house and just record it into his phone, and I know this is very mean. I'm sorry,
Ja
Ja.
Rule, you
Ja
know what though?
Rule.
If you're here and you want to come on the podcast, tell me about making music because I want to know everything.
You know, my dad produces like gospel and R&B and like
You didn't know this?
What?
he has
Yeah.
a recording studio and all
He's
that
like a
stuff.
legit music producer.
Do you remember Atlantic Star? Do you know who that is?
No.
Secret Lovers.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we
You know
are.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
he,
No.
he worked with them on that. Yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
I notice that I say that a lot to things that aren't necessarily funny, but more like interesting.
Yeah, that's like interesting.
So that's why I
yeah.
like trailed off. I'm like, funny.
I
It's
do that
not.
too. That is so funny.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. It's hilarious. Can I intervene with my segment?
Yeah, you want to do your segment
Do
now. Okay.
it.
Guys, so this is my my favorite segment, and this is my bad, dude. And this is when I apologize for something that I previously hated on. And so this week's my bad, dude, is Zac Efron. If you're watching, I'm so sorry for being a hater, dude. This show, Down to Earth, with Zac Efron on Netflix, is actually like really good. It's everybody's
I
silent.
haven't seen it. So what? Well, because have you seen it?
So-
I haven't seen it. I've seen the preview, but like that's what made you like turn your head, not The Greatest Showman, where he's like dancing and singing and fine AF.
No,
I didn't see it.
like Zac Efron. Zac Efron, like acting to me, just like not necessarily for me.
Okay, right.
Not necessarily for me.
I did like him in was it Neighbors when he was the frat guy? He was pretty funny. Did you
Mhm.
see that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good in that.
But he's because I wouldn't identify. And listen, Zach, I'm totally ready for our collab. Okay, I said it like 4 times on my Instagram today.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm. You just go. Yeah, I know.
I just want
But
to listen.
here's what I want to say is that like I don't listen. Maybe he is this like amazing actor, but what Zac Efron is like a great actor, meaning like he looks great on camera,
Yes,
like
he
he
does.
knows how to move, he knows like all of those things. But like I don't know where like how much depth.
Mhm.
I haven't seen him in a performance where I feel that depth. But then so his whole thing, I don't know if you know this, he like got sober a couple of years ago.
Okay, I didn't know
Because
that.
he
didn't know that
basically,
either.
yeah, it was like, you know, because I mean, think about for us how overwhelming Hollywood is, and now add on like mega fame
Right.
from, you know, a
Sure.
Disney musical. I know you've
Fair.
done many more things than that, Zach, but bear with me. So, so yeah, he basically hit this like moment of awakening of like, what is all this for, in congruence with like getting sober. And so the guy that he's doing the show with is like a health food and like superfood guru. Darren is his first name, and he is like an author of, you know, all of these books about
Mhm.
like, you know, body, mind, and soul, etc. And so Zach, I guess, had listened to him. I'm on a first name basis. Zach had listened to him on like a podcast or something, like a bunch
Okay.
of years like prior, and then they'd become buddies. And then now they like did the show together where they travel around to all of these different countries and are basically looking at all of the like sometimes it's about like superfoods but a lot of it is about like sustainability
Like
and all of
energy and like all that. Yeah, I've seen.
yeah, and all of the places in which like basically what I always like try to teach about, which is like literally everything we need, we already have.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
we live in
It's true.
America where like everything is so like hyper literally more and more through this process of
Mhm.
corona have I realized like, oh, our entire society is set up for production and more money. That's it. There's
Mhm.
not any basis of
Preach.
humanitarian, and anybody who tells you that is not actually telling you all of the facts. I think there's a lot of movement towards that. I think there's a lot of people that have that call. But one of the episodes where like I started crying for real, this was today,
Okay.
and I'm
you
like,
look
Oh,
great.
boy.
You look
and oh my
great.
god,
Yeah.
thank you. And
What made you cry?
because he goes to Puerto Rico, and
Mm.
that's how he said it.
By
not
the way,
me.
if anybody watching live has seen this show, let us tell me your thoughts. I'm going to read the comments.
Or like watch it in like hit me up. It's so good. So he goes to Puerto Rico, and he meets with
I
the
like how you say it
mayor,
like
Yeah.
that.
and the whole thing is about all of the devastation that happened a couple of years ago from all of their hurricanes.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that they were hit by Hurricane Irma, and then 2 weeks later were hit by Hurricane
Oh.
Maria.
I
Yeah.
went to Puerto Rico last year.
Oh,
Like,
really?
How was
I
it?
saw it was. You didn't notice that anything happened. Honestly, like they built up really well. But when I went to some islands, you could
Yeah.
tell.
Yes.
Like I did some caving adventure, and there was a flat screen TV deep down in the cave that it got like brushed, like washed
Wow.
in there. You know, but there was some devastation, but not.
Could
in
imagine
San
if
Juan or
somebody learned how to
anything.
hook it up and they were like watching it in the cave.
Just like the bats are just like dropping down, just be like,
Well,
"What's up?"
And now I'm just imagining cartoon bats watching cartoon bats on TV. Okay, stay with me. So it was just really neat, and all of the ways of which like he was like there to help, and then like in one segment there's this kid who like they had lost their entire house, but
Yeah.
apparently he's like incredibly gifted. He knows like 3 languages.
Mm.
Jose, he's 10. Oh my god.
Oh,
And
okay.
So they rebuilt this entire like new home for this
Yeah.
family, which again to us like literally looks like a really bad Airbnb. Like there's like just like
Sure.
a couch and it's something, but like
To
this family's like
them.
crying when
Yeah.
they like walk into it and like just watching.
Like, it's hard for me to watch that stuff.
But what I also liked is like, because I thought for a second, I'm like, wait, is part of this like white saviorism, right? This idea of like, oh, this like mega celebrity is just going around being like, oh, sorry to see these people live this way. But there
Here's a
was,
couch.
right, which like it could be argued that way, but I actually found him to be like incredibly,
Humble.
but I would say like humbled. Like not, it wasn't like everything where he's like, God, I can't believe like I have everything, but like that his whole reason for wanting to do any of this work to begin with was I live in Hollywood that literally sucks you dry, and this cannot be my whole life, which is like not eating carbs and being on a treadmill so I can take my shirt off in a movie. Like
That's fair.
if this is
Yeah.
what if this
I
is
get that part.
you know, it's like if this is what life is about, like, and you know, and I don't know, and there's a lot I think about him that resonated with me where he talks a lot about like his inability to turn his brain off and
Yeah.
always wondering like what is the real purpose, and so
Constant. I'm constantly.
yeah,
Like, yes.
and so I thought it was, I don't know, I thought it was
Like I have
really
50 more years to go. Like, oh my god. Like, what?
oh
of
my
all
god,
this
that just
thinking?
really bummed me out. Oh
Just-
my god,
Maybe more.
Maybe more.
I mean, the last article I read from the BBC about this, they said that they think a child born today with Western medicine will easily make it to 120.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you guys like centenarians, what's the word?
Cent-
Oh, somebody who makes it to 100?
Yeah, but how do you pronounce it? Centenarian.
There you
I knew
go.
I would find it.
I was like,
Sagittarius.
Like a centaur? Sagittarius.
Close. Zach also has an episode on that. There
Does
is they go to Italy and there's like a whole village that's known for having the most centenarians in the
Oh, I've
world.
heard of this. Yeah.
Yeah. And so anyway, I think it was
I-
Zach. My bad, dude. I love where your head is at. I love the mission of the show. I learned so much about like my own drinking water. I learned like there were like so many like kind of like small takeaways, but even like just this idea of sustainability and like food as medicine, which is like a concept I've been like kind of retraining my brain around food, because again, like it's fast food, it's like, and even in LA where it's like it's organic or it's this or it's that, it's like we don't think about where our food comes
No,
from.
not at all.
We don't, it's like half the time I forget to eat because the process of making food to me, I'm like, it takes too long. Who has time for that? And it's like, I genuinely believe that choosing to slow down and make a ritual out of cooking your meals and like
It's
there's
art. It's
there-
like,
there's
it's
so-
like it's an artistic moment. I
Yes.
think so. And then you're so proud of what you made and you eat it. I think it tastes better when
Yes.
you slow down, put the love into
Yes.
it.
Well,
Not
and
just peel it back and pop it in the microwave.
the amount of like senses that are used in cooking too, like the scent and the colors and all these things. So anyway, I'm not kidding that I'm manifesting this now. I don't know when, but at some time I am going to do a collab with Zac Efron, and
It'll
I cannot
happen.
wait to go. I remember when I talked about this on our show.
Okay, I just want to. I have a little bit of a beef with, not with Zach. Zach's fine. Although I do want to say before I get into the beef, it's with other people. I love that you're like, Zach, oh my god, I love you. It's great. I'm just saying, like, it's cute, right? When you're like, hey, beautiful, objectively gorgeous, perfectly chiseled man. and then you're like, I love you. But like if I was on my Instagram story talking about whoever, and there was like some just hot piece of, Hollywood ass that I was like, oh, you're so fucking hot, it would be so much creepier, right? Like there isn't the same.
100%. But I
say it
also,
like that.
yeah, that was weird. And also, I don't feel like that was at all like. I mean, yes, he's like it is.
He's gorgeous.
There was a couple times where like I noticed it's like his eyes literally like sparkle to where like
He's beautiful.
he can't help but like it always looks like he's hitting on somebody. Like that was the funny take for me. Like every day he was even like he was standing like this in one shot, and I was like, no, anybody else that would stand like that looks like creepy boss. He
Right.
stands
Right.
like that, and you're like, I want to stand underneath
So,
your arm forever.
Fair. Okay, so my beef is
Okay.
that apparently they've decided that his like regular, still in pretty good shape body is a dad bod.
Oh, that's
yeah.
so.
And it's like, dude, he went from like
Chiseled,
Abercrombie and
yeah.
Fitch Baywatch movie body to like still pretty well manicured, like healthy, fit, not quite as ripped body.
No,
and it's like that's
he
not a
says in the thing, right? I mean, I didn't watch it, but I saw a clip where he's like, "Oh, it's so nice to eat carbs and not
Yeah.
have to like worry about it and think about it."
Well, when I saw that about the dad bod
Yeah.
thing, I was like, if I was Zac Efron, I would be like, I want a retraction printed.
yeah.
Because do you know how hard I work? This is not a dad bod. Leonardo DiCaprio, after too many beers on the side of a yacht with like 16-year-old girls, that's a dad bod.
That's an
I told you
Epstein
my
bod.
Leo story. Did I tell you last time I was here my Leo story?
Remind
sorry.
Me.
Okay.
Remind me.
Indulge.
We went to high school together.
What?
But he's older than me. We went to the same high school, and I knew this because our drama teacher would always talk about how she made Leo the star
Get
that
outta
he
here,
is,
dude.
right? So Rachel's like,
I'm
dying
dying,
right now.
over this.
it's pretty embarrassing. So there used to be a Pink Berry on Melrose, where Lucifer's Pizza is now, and I was walking,
Oh, yeah.
and he was standing outside. And I have no problem going up to celebrities because they're just people, and I'll
Yeah.
talk to
You grew up
anybody.
here. You've been around.
I grew
yeah.
up here, and I'm like, whatever. And I go up, and I was like, hey, Leo, like, we went to the same high school, like, go Unicorns. That was our mascot. And he's looking at me, and I just, like, keep talking. And
Yeah.
he goes, yeah, just 1 second. And he points to his ear because he had an earpiece in, and he was, like, on the phone. And he's like, just wait. And I went, okay. And I stood there. And I just waited, and he got off the phone. I was like, yeah, so Miss Stringos, like, remember the teacher? And he went, uh-huh, and just turned and walked away.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen. Okay, now I know for you it's super exciting,
No, that was awkward.
but imagine if, like, you had some random person who you've never met who's just like, hey, I went to the place that you used to go, and let's talk. And it's like, come on, man. Like,
I mean,
you're not in the wrong. I'm
Yeah.
just saying I don't totally fault him for just being like,
Dude, I think he's a wacko.
well, yeah, of course.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Should I have backed you up on your story?
No, I don't give a fuck.
I don't feel like she was like doing it to like flex. She
yeah,
was
I
just
wasn't like I
sharing-
approached Leo and like he brushed me off and it was amazing.
Yeah, she was just like, "Did I tell you my Leo story?" And I said, "No, indulge." And she told me the
Okay.
story.
yeah, no, I'm not offended. Please.
I mean, to be honest, like, I guess I don't even like when people try to talk to me like out of politeness. You know what I mean? Like just random. Like if I don't even like. You're very good when we go to Trader Joe's or something, and the person's like, "Hey, you guys got any plans for the weekend?" And you'll like engage them.
yeah, it's fun.
And I just get kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I heard you
yeah.
on the phone with somebody this morning. I think it's about getting tested for
COVID.
For COVID.
For COVID, just to clarify, you can't say getting tested and pause. That's a very like,
Well,
yeah,
uh,
getting for COVID. That's
For
it. And I'm
COVID.
not sick. I don't have it. I'm pretty sure. I just want to be positive.
But it was
I'm
as
pretty
though
sure.
you had never been on the phone with somebody. You were like,
What?
"Oh, I think, hi, I think I was talking to like Maria or like a Melissa or something." Anyway, I was giving somebody a call back, and she was like, "Okay, yeah." And you go, "I'm sorry. I mean, my name is Alex."
You panicked.
Like,
I don't even like talking to my friends on the phone. I love talking to my friends either in person or like over chat. But
Did
like,
that change?
I
though?
don't know if that's true. 'cause-
Like with technology, did that change? That's what I'm curious because like
Well-
we always talked on the phone. We didn't have texting. We didn't have any of that stuff.
are all
And now people are like, "Oh, I just like to talk over text." I'm like, but we grew up talking over the phone.
yeah. Okay. There's like maybe 2 or 3 friends that I'll talk on the phone with. But
yeah, Tuma, you talked to on the phone for like 45 minutes.
yeah, well, because Luke will call me and we'll talk about like this like stuff going on with our like we're doing the same thing right now, so we have a lot to talk about. But like my buddies that aren't either in comedy, and they have to be like a really good friend, or like in podcasting like heavily. There's too many lulls in the conversation, and I have so much anxiety about that it makes me so uncomfortable. Like in person, I don't mind because it's like I can see their body language and we
Right.
can whatever. But just over the phone, if there's any silence, I get like really uncomfortable, like
Oh, so you're uncomfortable with silence.
on the phone. I don't know. I just don't. And it's like if it's a friend that we're like chatting, then it has to be some amount of time. It can't just be if it's too short. It's like, oh, now our friendship is weird. It was a 3-minute conversation and I haven't talked to you in months. But it's like, well, if we don't have that much to talk about, I gotta make up shit.
But a quick check-in's not okay? Just a quick check-in, like, hey, just want to
Do
see
it
how
over
you're doing?
text, please.
Okay, all right.
Or you know what I love? You know what I love doing? We don't want to do this. We'll do the memo, the audio message.
Oh, yeah,
called
that's
voice
how
memos.
you
Voice
memo.
memo.
Me, yeah.
Yeah, I voice memo you. Yeah.
It's good because I'll do talk to text, and then people are like, "I'm sorry, the cat did what?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I left my hat at your place." And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
Well, I think voice memos are the way to go
Yeah.
because most of the time when I'm communicating stuff, especially with like good buddies of mine, like my friend Chuck, shout out Chuck Lira. He's marrying us. When
Aw.
I know we lived together for 7 years in Chicago, and so we like I'm sure when we're in person, it's that relationship you pick right back up. But like day to day, we're not super involved in each other's lives.
Right.
Like I know, we kind of comment on each other's like Instagrams or whatever. Like occasionally we'll like message something back and forth, and then normally like once every 3 months we'll actually do like a full 45-minute to an hour like FaceTime.
Yeah.
But there's not like a lot to catch up on.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like a very solid, just like voice memo back and forth. And sometimes people get super weirded out, but I'm like, I talk so much.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
think
easier
it's easy.
that way.
It's partly that, but also like you have a lot of close friends who don't really understand this world at all, like the nuances of auditioning and podcasting and everything. And they're like very supportive and they are genuinely curious, but to get into the nuances of it, they wouldn't really enjoy that part where you could like go back and forth with like Liz or Emily or you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
so those conversations are hard to have. Like I find that tough sometimes when I hate saying like my friends who don't do
Muggles.
right, they're like, oh yeah, like how's the podcast comedy stuff going? And I want to like fill them in, but there's so much of the nuances they don't really get. It's hard to like actually have an authentic conversation that doesn't just. I can tell it's like when somebody wants to talk about like fantasy sports. Like, dude, I barely care about regular.
But that's
sports,
why I
like,
loved being in Atlanta because nobody
you guys were
because
out
nobody
there.
cares
That's great.
what
Oh,
I do.
Take me back.
And so to me, that's why like I found it the most enjoyable because I felt like I was really creating like content from a place that was the most authentic and that I didn't care. It's like I put it out there and then it was done. Like nobody was like, so what are you working on? Do you have any meetings?
Right.
Do you have
You know how I know? Because our favorite people we met the whole time there, like our new best friends, it was this couple next door, and like she just got her master's in like mental health
She
or
got her
something.
doctorate.
Doctorate.
Oh.
Yeah, in mental health. And what does Pierce do?
He works in software.
Right.
He's
so
also
like
a musician.
regular ass jobs,
Yes.
but like we had so much fun just talking to them about just like, what's going
Well, I
on in
wouldn't
the
say
world.
they're regular ass jobs, but yes, they.
Let me rephrase. They're very skilled and they have advanced degrees.
They're
Right.
not in
They're
entertainment.
not in the industry.
But like you enjoy
I'm
talking
sorry.
to them about
If
like
you're offended by your
craft.
regular job that I didn't acknowledge it specifically, I'm sorry.
Well,
my
I'm just
point,
saying,
Yeah.
Katie is a doctor.
Yeah,
That's a
she's a
huge.
she's
deal.
way
like,
smarter than both of us. My point is, my point is,
Yes.
we had like, really wonderful, great conversations with them about like, you guys have kids. We're thinking about having kids, like that kind of stuff. Politics, what's going on in the world right now, the new Black Lives Matter movement going on.
Right.
Everything. We're like talking about all these important, interesting things, and then we don't have to go into like, oh, I got my new headshots, or like, this audition I'm doing, or you know what I mean? Which isn't. I get it. Like, it's important. We work on that stuff, but it does get kind of. There's that fine line out here between like catching up with your friend and being proud of their success and sharing yours, and then just like flexing.
Well, like if all your friends, because I'm from LA, so it's very different for me. Not all my friends are in the industry, so I've met people. I never knew anyone in it until I started doing comedy, and then I met people. And like you can talk about that with those people, but you have to have other people outside of it.
Right.
There's people who are here too.
That is a funny
Yeah.
misconception. People think like, oh, everybody in LA is like, none of
all
your
of my friends are like teachers. One of them works for like Snapchat. Like they're just all. Once someone's like Conan O'Brien's gardener, like I don't even know. Like
Wait, is that real? That's amazing.
yeah, she like tends to his garden.
Oh my god, I love
like
this.
full time. That's her full time gig.
Yeah.
Anybody else or just Conan?
I don't know. I just know
okay.
that one
All
because
right.
I was like, help me with my tomatoes.
Well,
Oh my god,
I know,
love that.
Liz, I know you have to go in a little bit. So there's one other segment I wanted to jump into before you go. This
Okay.
is my favorite, our original segment, the segment that really birthed this whole podcast. It's called Rachel Learns the News. All right, now I've got
Yes.
3 news articles here, and we're going to go over them. Tony, do you have those ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's pull up that first one from the New York Post.
I'm ready.
Okay. So, Rachel, why don't you read
Ready.
this headline for us?
Oh, my God. Oh, yeah, I read about
Stop.
this.
Yeah.
Ready? Teens are hold on. I also love that this is under the section of living.
Yeah, right.
Teens are dressing up as mask-wearing grandmas to try to score alcohol.
I mean, good for them.
I don't understand. So
Like-
they just
Like right now, you can cover
Yeah.
your face with a bandana, so they're trying to make it look like they're a grandmother.
they just like paint on crow's feet and like what do they do? And
Well,
just-
let's see. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. So wait, go down, Tony. Yeah.
Oh, sloth.
Oh, yeah. Can you? Yeah. Pause that. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah. Let's go to that.
no, leave it.
There was a pop up of a sloth that popped up. All right. So, Rach, you want to read that for us?
In a pandemic, no one knows you're underage. I feel like I have so many problems with that sentence. But moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
That's what
Get
Gen
it
Z has
on.
discovered as they updated the fake ID for the COVID-19 era, hitting up liquor stores dressed as elderly grandmas wearing coronavirus face masks. The prank has taken social media platform TikTok by storm, with videos of users bedecked as booze hound bubbies. I'm so angry.
Booze
whoever-
Hound. That sounds like an improv team. The Booze Hound Bub.
Bubbies.
Guys, we're the Booze Hound
I
Bubbies.
love it.
Anyway, this whole article could have been one sentence. It's just, that,
We get the idea.
yeah, they're
I think it's kind of funny.
Well, I'm also like offended. Just grandmas, just old biddies. What about the grandpas? Like it's just old, like.
Well, I
both?
think you know what I'll back that up. Why they think they're doing it? I bet you a liquor store employee is less likely to challenge a grandma than a grandpa. You know, it's like an old lady. You tend to think, oh, she's frail. She's just trying. But the thing is, though,
What?
I bet you, though,
ass old ladies.
it's probably
Frail
unlikely
old
that like an
lady.
old grandma's buying like handles of rum or like White Claw. If
See,
yeah,
that's
what are
what
they?
I'm gonna be doing that when I'm a grandma. I don't know what you're talking about. Like I plan on going out.
You plan on ripping shots as a grandma?
Yes, come on. I will beer pong it all day.
I just could not
Please.
imagine. I mean, first of all, the creativity. You know what I mean?
Good for, I think good
like
for them.
who was sitting around being like, God, this summer's gonna be so long. How are we gonna get our booze? And
Right.
someone's like, I have an idea. Like that's just so. Like I want to
That's
know.
ridiculous.
I want a time lapse video of this person making themselves look like a grandma. That's what I want.
That would be impressive.
Yeah.
Wait, how old were you when you got drunk for the first time?
Oh,
15?
Yeah.
15, Liz,
Yeah, like 15.
Tony,
I was like 12.
12.
Oh.
Wow, holy shit.
I got older siblings though.
Ah, okay.
yeah.
I have an older sibling. What was that? My first drink was a Fuzzy Navel wine cooler in
Ugh,
Vegas.
I don't even know what that is, but it sounds terrible.
We had like 6 of them. And we're
Ugh.
driving down Las Vegas, like Tropicana, just shouting out the window. When I think about you, I touch myself. Like that's what we were singing at like 14, 15. Very
I love
exciting.
this.
All right, let's go to the next one. All right, this is from Fox News. It's not a political one. It's
I mean,
just
well, it's fine.
yeah. Click that middle link there. Here we go. Okay,
We
this
got
is funny.
News for you.
Is this also under the section living?
Yeah,
This is under hot topics.
yeah.
Hot
Ugh,
pie.
boring. Delaware pizza store owner foils robbery by throwing pie at suspect, cops say.
I mean, that's pretty
Hmm.
funny.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Wait, so dude's running off with something and then the pizza store. Wait, so what was he stealing? Pizza?
Cash.
No, a guy came in trying to rob the pizza store, and then the owner threw a pie at him and scared him, and he took off.
Was it?
Wait, this person
pepperoni?
had a gun?
Here, let's see. From
That
the
doesn't.
owner.
I could just not imagine going and preparing.
Look, okay, hold on. Here's the. I'll read it this time. A crook looking for some dough.
Really loud.
Oh, that's from the. Yeah, can you pause that?
Oh, that's
I gotta-
actually really good sound for this, though.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah,
Very
there's all
serious.
these news sites have pop-ups. A crook looking for some dough got served up. I know.
I'm so
I know.
Ah,
Got
yes.
served up something else when he tried to hold up a pizza shop in Delaware on Friday. Delaware State Police said they are searching for a man who attempted to rob Stargate Pizza and blah, 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 and only fled after the owner flung pizza at him. Officials say they received a call about... Yes, pretty much the whole story.
Was
okay.
it a full pizza? Was it slice by slice? Like, was it fresh out the
I'm
oven?
just like, who
I just
think
want to know. Was
think
it cold
about
pizza?
this poor guy that was like,
Calzone? I
all
don't know.
right, Mike, we're doing it this time. You're not backing down no matter what happens. He goes and he's like, I'm robbing the joint, and then just gets like a pepperoni to the
Yeah.
face. And he's like, I can't do it.
Just
you
like-
know?
just a little pepperoni disc.
Yeah,
just
like the whole way home was he just like, God, you're an idiot,
You know-
Mike.
you know
it
what
was
would've-
just a pizza.
I wish there was video. There's not, unfortunately, but it would have been amazing if like the owner threw the dough,
Yeah.
and it like covered his face, and he like
That's
hit
what I
the
was
door or
thinking, yeah.
something.
That'd be
He's just
hilarious.
tossing the dough up, and so
Right.
the guy's like, "Yeah, well, give me the money. I'll give you some dough," and then tosses the pie.
Yeah.
That's like
it's
a scene
like
out of
a
Ninja
slime.
Turtles
and then
or
the
something.
guy comes out, of the pizzeria, no money. He's got powder all over his face. Everybody's like,
That's
what happened, man? It's like, let's get out of here.
Yeah, but I'm thinking
Don't
if someone
ask.
has a gun, it's like fresh dough, and someone throws it, it's just gonna break right through. And
That's
they're
what
gonna
I mean,
be
like-
okay, and
Well, my guess is it was like, in all likelihood, the guy ran in screaming, whatever, and the owner just saw pizza, is like, get out of here, and threw it in a panic.
I will say that the only thing that a story that I have that's even close to that, not of my personal own, and I'm not going to out this person right now, but they've since come a long way. But at the time when we were in college, there was, so we lived in what was called the UCC. It was like the University Center or something of Chicago. That would be UC, anyway. Yeah, the University Center, and there was like a 7-Eleven that was down the block, and my buddy at the time, God only knows what drugs he was on, but tried to steal a full pizza like from the
Wow.
7-Eleven, and got chased all the way down the block and tackled, and for whatever reason they just took the pizza and then like walked back.
That's funny.
But I was
It's
like,
probably not worth prosecuting a pizza thief. You know what I mean? Like, to hold the guy there
Right.
for the police. Like,
but also like
could eat it, the
why?
evidence is
But like
gone,
the
you
fact
know?
that our friend then later like told us, like it was like,
oh,
dude,
you didn't see it happen?
oh no.
Oh,
he was
wow.
like, guess what I did?
Yeah, well, not even like that, but more like super embarrassed but disgruntled. It was like, dude, I don't think you had to like tell anybody, bro.
Yeah.
You could have taken that to the
Weird.
grave.
Yeah,
like-
I feel like you would have been all clear.
All right, we got one more story.
well,
All right.
All right, so here's the deal. So to set this up. Oh, yeah, you can just read it. Yeah, it's fine. Can you read it?
Stop.
So we're going to end on some inspiration. Pretty cool.
Oh, yay.
Ride of a lifetime.
Aw.
Ohio man loses nearly 200 pounds to ride new roller coaster.
All right, before we get in, I just want to pause. I want to go through Rachel's reactions to all three. Teens being grandmas to drink booze. She's like, ugh, get over yourself. Pizza thief. She's like, this is dumb. Somebody loses weight to
Yeah.
to fulfill their dream. Oh my God, my tender heart. I'm so happy.
Well, it's good for them. They had a goal. They,
It
you
is
know.
good. It's just funny that like you were so like these first two stories. You're like, who cares? And then this last one, you're like, oh my God, it's
Well,
beautiful.
I'm a little worried about this because he says, I'm at peace. I'm relaxed when I'm riding roller coasters. To me, that's my happy place, is when I'm riding roller coasters.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. I think that's great. I think that, he had a goal and he was like, I'm going to do this thing. I
200
think
pounds
about,
is a
That's
lot.
a lot of
That's
work.
me. That's literally me.
I
That's a
think
lot.
about how hard it is to lose weight.
Ugh, I know.
And now knowing I'm
Wait, it's
simply
much
doing
harder
it
for women.
so that I can ride a roller coaster.
Yeah.
But whatever gets
Like
you there.
right now, I'm like, I got to lose a little bit so I feel really good in my wedding dress. I
Yeah.
couldn't imagine being like, I got to get
I
on
will
that
say-
coaster.
Coaster.
I've so as most all of us, I put on quite a bit of weight during the peak of the beginning of
The
quarantine.
COVID-19.
Hey, I lost weight, so don't,
Good for
don't
you.
put me in that category.
Really?
Oh, I've been
I
working
said-
out every day.
First of all, two things. One, I said most of us. Two, you're killing it.
Thank you.
You're back on the market. You're like, listen, you look hotter than ever.
I was working
you know?
out before I was back on the market.
So even you were ready.
Wait, so are
like-
you doing at-home workouts? Or are you going? What are you?
I do Beachbody, and then I'll go on like hikes and stuff.
What's Beachbody?
Oh, Beachbody on demand, girl.
Oh,
You
it's
know
like a-
Sean T, like hip hop
Oh,
abs.
yeah.
Remember him?
No.
You know Sean T?
T25.
Yeah, T25. You do that?
Me and my wife, she makes
Yeah,
me do it.
it's great.
What's
Yeah.
that?
It's a video workout. It's like almost like an aerobic type thing, like a class workout. You do it like
Yeah.
24-hour fitness, but it's in your house and it's intense.
There's a lot of like. There's so many different ones you can choose from. There's even a country line dancing one you can do.
Heyo,
Just-
Kenny
I'm gonna-
Chesney.
I'm gonna pass on that one, but
No, but there's like P90X is on there.
That's
And
cool.
like the Insanity and all like
Yeah.
the.
I
But if
mean-
I'm telling the truth, it was like today I had an audition early this morning, so I got like completely hair and makeup ready, and then I was like, I didn't work out yesterday,
humble brag.
so I was like, oh, I need to. Yeah, I had an audition.
over Zoom.
Yeah, if I book it, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
But where then I was fully done, so I was like, well, now I don't want to go work out. Like it just
That's
felt
fair.
like that was such, But then I was like, well, so I just got to start my day tomorrow working out because I didn't work out yesterday either.
Like I had to. Last night I was like, all right, that's it, and I ate the entire bag of Kung Pao chicken from Trader Joe's. Did you see? Speaking of news articles, Trader Joe's is taking off all ethnic labels from their food.
Oh yeah, I was
Yeah.
reading something
Wait, what
about
does that mean?
Those were
exactly.
offensive, though. They had like Trader Jose was their like Spanish theme
Stuff like
stuff.
that, or like
Yeah.
if there's like maybe some Chinese characters or something off of their pork buns, they're gonna remove. I don't know. They're just removing any kind of ethnic. You'll find.
I mean, listen.
so they were
I'm-
like trying to be cutesy, and then people are like, Trader,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know
I
if
mean-
I would do that.
I certainly recognize the need to not, cartoon somebody's culture, or if that's the right word, to not use
Yeah.
it as like a sales point. I just wonder, like, I worry about not worry, but I'm cognizant now of like sometimes I'm going to be concerned. How do I accurately describe a piece of cuisine without saying anything that might be the wrong words to say? Does that make sense? Like,
I mean, I think if it's that wrong, someone will correct you and you say, okay, and then you move on. Like, I don't think, as long as there's no malice behind it, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I want to know how you're describing it. Like, yeah, it's variation.
yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. How are you?
I don't know.
What
I'm
food
just,
would you be describing where there would be a need to be nondescript?
well, I don't know. It hasn't happened to me yet, but now I've.
Okay, so it's something we should definitely
yeah.
put our effort
I'm
and
just
worry
saying.
about.
It's permeating, Alex. I can feel
listen,
it.
guys. I'm just telling you, a big fear, no, a day-to-day reality of mine that I'm aware of. I don't want to be the ignorant white guy. Okay, I'm trying my hardest to not say the dumb thing. So Tony, you
both,
relate,
brother.
right?
I completely agree with you on that.
So I just want to know, like, hey, listen, I get it. Like, I wouldn't want my culture made fun of to sell frozen dinners either. I'm just want to make sure I don't walk into a landmine saying something stupid that, like, hey, we don't say that anymore. It's like,
Yeah, but then someone just tells you, we don't say that anymore. And you go, okay. And then you move on.
Yeah.
And I won't say it anymore.
That's the other thing I feel like not a lot of people understand is like if you're in a position where you feel like somebody's really coming at you hard, like that will literally get you out of any like conversation right now. There's a lot of heated conversations going
fair.
on of just going, thank you so much for explaining that to me. And I mean, I feel like in a way
that's a
is
good point. You're
that
right.
is
Yeah.
That's smart.
fair and balanced most of the time, especially like if there's, like a person of color that's like, I would actually prefer to be called this, or like,
Yeah.
it is like educating you on something. That's one thing to be like, okay, like, of course, thank you so much for taking your like energy and sharing that with me. I appreciate it.
It's like
But
gender
even-
pronouns, same thing.
right.
Like you might say I might say he, and like actually I prefer to be she. That's what I go by. Okay, great, no problem. And if you make more of a big deal out of it and you keep going, oh, I'm so sorry I said that.
Yeah,
Oh
you
my
don't
God.
have to. Yeah.
That's where they're like, okay, enough already.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, I think that's so true. Of like,
Yeah.
no one's asking you to apologize. You didn't know, but now you know. So integrate. But I also think it's the same as true if someone's like, yeah, but I shouldn't have to wear a mask because I feel like my rights are being taken away. Or like, that's just
Yeah,
the thing.
that's
So
stupid.
anything, like, even if so, and then I just go, okay.
Well,
and then like, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it never occurred to me. Like,
Okay,
I would have gotten,
bye-bye.
yeah, like I would have
Yeah,
gotten out of
yeah,
so many
yeah.
bullshit conversations so long ago if I just would have learned to go, okay.
Welcome
Thanks.
to the 30s.
It's a good life hack.
Thanks for letting me know.
So to wrap up, because you got to
Yeah.
go
What
soon.
time
all right,
is
all
it?
right.
It is
7:34.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, you got like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
like 5 minutes.
So to wrap up, so you're you're only our second guest, but you're our first LA native.
Yeah.
And LA, God, I mean, what a crazy time to be here.
It's changed
So
so
listen,
much.
you've been here what, 34 years, 33 years,
35.
35 years.
Yeah.
But you don't look a day over 28. You
Thank
know.
you, Botox.
So listen, so you're not that on LA. I mean, you're a little LA.
I
Yeah.
just became that LA.
Okay.
I wasn't that before.
So
I
listen,
just got it for the first
So
time.
35 years in LA, born and raised your whole life
Mm-hmm.
outside of your college years. I mean, what's it been like seeing all the things going on? And you were here during the riots when I know you were very little, but in
94,
yeah.
92.
92.
92,
yeah,
right?
I remember.
Do you remember that?
I remember specifically because I was in the hot tub. My parents have a little hot tub outside. I'm there with my friend Brigitte, and we're like hanging out with my sister. And then my dad comes outside. He's like, "Get inside the riot! They're burning Sammy's camera down! Like, get in!" Because it was on Fairfax, so
Oh
it
my
wasn't
God.
too far away. He's like, "Get inside! They're coming!" And I was like, "Nobody's coming to the Weissman household. Like, nobody knows like what's in here." Yeah, but that's what I remember.
Do you,
like, seeing
I mean, I know you
friends.
were very little then, but
Yeah.
like that compared to the most recent, like, was there a big difference in?
Well,
I
it
mean,
just affects me differently.
Yeah.
Like I was little and I was like, oh, this is going on, but I didn't really understand it.
Sure.
You know, like as I got older and learned more, like obviously Rodney King and stuff, and learned deeply about why the riot started. I was like, okay, that makes sense. But
Yeah.
now, for me, like right down my street, I grew up off of Melrose. I
Right.
saw it all get destroyed.
this
Right.
most recent time.
Yeah,
you're
and I
saying,
went
yeah.
down the next day and helped clean it up, and it's just bizarre.
What was that like?
It's weird to see in your own neighborhood. Like,
Mhm.
you know, you see stuff on the news and it's kind of like not out of sight, out of mind. Like you feel for people, but you're like, oh, okay. But when
It's
you
out of sight, out of mind.
yeah, you know what I
I mean,
yeah, but
we
like,
were in Marietta, Georgia, and we were like, I like recognized all the places, and it's like, wow, like it feels so close and yet so far away because
I
we
think it
weren't
was even
Exactly.
more surreal than had we been here in a
Yeah.
way. Like being far away made it feel more like I was like, we're for sure in a simulation rather than like had we been here. Cause it was a weird thing of like, obviously we spoke a lot about it with our friends that were like, you know,
yeah.
in Atlanta. But yeah, being like, yeah, but like, that's my street.
Yeah.
Yep,
Legitimately.
like
like
literally my
like
street.
yeah.
the pavilions on our corner. We saw it like
yeah.
yeah.
or the Panda Expresses that I frequent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that you go to Panda
I
Express.
do. I'm not ashamed.
No, you shouldn't be.
No, that orange chicken.
Panda Express is great.
I know some people hate on it. I'm like, no.
It's so good. I just, you can't have it too much or you start to.
Look
I'm just
like a panda.
well,
Panda.
I'm a little more self-conscious lately because like okay, so
You're engaged. Whatever.
I know, but I live here.
We
and-
still got to
Oh,
take wedding
stop.
photos. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Like after the first baby, like then we can be like, these are our bodies now. But you know,
it's not purely for vanity too. It's like I physically feel better
Oh,
when
yeah.
I'm way more, like when I'm eating healthier and when I'm more active.
Obviously.
You know?
yeah.
And also like, listen, hopefully I'll have kids soon. I want to be an active dad. Being a dad's a lot of work.
Yeah, man. He took his first step today, like just.
Oh.
that's so
Yeah,
fun.
milestone moment. But
Yeah,
like,
totally.
it's good, but it's scary at the same time because I know he's gonna be running at some point in
Yep.
time as well.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
He's already a lot of energy to take in. So
Make sure
yeah,
those
man.
toilet lids are closed and locked and
yeah,
all that
we got the
stuff.
whole house on lockdown, all the outlets
Mhm.
and stuff. And
Like I'm so clumsy already. Like I knock into things and I just.
Oh, I've
yeah.
knocked when I was a preschool teacher. I've knocked children over with my hips.
I'm
Like,
I'm worried about like
happen.
I'm literally worried about like knocking my son over if I like back up into him or
It'll
something.
happen.
It's
Yeah.
for
And then you
sure
go,
gonna happen.
This is what you do. If you make a big deal and you're like, oh my god, are you okay? They're gonna start
Yeah,
crying.
that's true.
If you go, you're fine as long as they are fine. You're fine. Get up. Let's go. Everything's okay. What's over here? Then they're fine. They
Yeah.
don't make a big deal.
I just can't wait until I hear the first crash in another room. Then I'm like, was it the baby or my baby? I don't know.
Or maybe
My
the
money's
dog.
on Alex.
We're thinking about getting a dog
Nice.
after the wedding, not now.
You know, I'm gonna start my own dog training company.
That's true. Okay, so we got to wrap
Yeah.
it up. So why don't we end on that? So tell us about
Okay.
that and we'll get out of here.
So I'm in the process. I'm shadowing a dog trainer right now, and then I'm gonna.
I love that.
Yeah. So every Sunday I help out and I shadow, and so I'm gonna work on getting my license. Like, there's not an official license, but there's a test that you can take and certification. So I'm gonna do that, and then start my own dog training biz. So if you need help.
And where can people reach you if they want to?
Oh, well, I mean, right now you could email me at liz.weissman@gmail.com, but I will be making my website soon and all that stuff. I'm getting that LLC, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh my God. Can I
Yeah.
ask you, so what was the impetus where you were like, this is a thing I really want to like manifest and actually like create and make real for myself?
well, I worked with kids, like preschoolers, for a really long time, and I was like, it's the same thing. So,
I mean,
he laughs 'cause
we're not
it's
that
true.
different.
It's really not. It's all
No.
like behavior modification.
Yeah.
And it's like positive reinforcement. Like, that's the school I'm going with. And it's just, I like seeing people connect with their dogs and being like, oh,
I dig it.
and then when you teach them how to sit or do a really fun trick, and they're like, oh my God, I'm so excited. It's really fun, right? And
Yeah.
you remember Winston's tricks?
Of course.
The Winston show? Yeah.
R.I.P.
And my dog, he used to jump through hoops and like balance cookies on
Are you
his nose.
teaching-
Kind of dog?
He was a Boston Terrier.
Okay.
And now you have.
I have Mitzi Pickles,
And
and
what-
she is a pug Brussels Griffon.
I love it.
She's so cute.
Can she do any tricks?
Yeah, I've taught her stuff already.
Like what?
She like dances on her back feet.
That's
she
cute.
sits pretty like this. She does a bend and snap. That's what she
Yeah,
does.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, rolls over on your side, paw, all that stuff.
So you're going to run all of it through in the backyard of your house. You
Yeah.
could do it there. Oh,
Yeah.
I love this.
And like doggy daycare and all that stuff.
I love it.
Yeah, why
I
not?
got a question
That's
for
great.
you, Lizzie.
Yeah.
So I taught my dog how to like sit, roll over, and beg and all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then the second I bring a treat out now, he just does all 3 tricks in a row.
Yeah.
And it's like super, like it looks super complex. Like, ooh, how'd you train him to do this? And he just did all the things. So I'll drop the treat as soon as possible.
That's so
it's
funny.
called offering.
Ah.
And they're like, or he's like perform. He's like, I know all these things in my head, so I'm gonna do them all because I
Yeah.
know I'm gonna get a treat if I do some of it. But what you really have to do is just tell him the command that you want him to do,
Yeah.
and the second he does that one. When I bring up my dog's dish of food, she does it all. She sits and does this, and then she
Yeah.
rolls. She does it all,
Yeah.
and then I just sit there and I go.
And then does the loop again. It just keeps.
that just
yeah.
keeps going, and I
Yeah.
go, Mitzi, sit. And when she sits, then I put the food down. I say stay, and I put the food down, and then the release is okay. And then she
Okay.
knows she can go.
That feels like a man if he knows that like he's gonna get laid. All of a sudden he's like
Uh-huh.
pulling out all the tricks, and you're
Yeah.
like, I didn't need all
I
of
didn't
that
need
right
all of
now.
it, just-
Pace yourself, sir.
Yeah, seriously, slow down.
That's funny.
yeah.
Well, I
That's
think we should
funny.
wrap it up there.
Okay.
All right. You're done for the day? I
Well-
thought we were just
Well,
gonna
I-
no,
release our
yeah.
dear friend.
Do you want to keep going?
I don't know. I mean, I guess not. We've had some longer episodes. We could call it, but we're
Well-
not even quite.
If you want to stick around, I do have a lot I want to talk about with this. They for sure whacked that judge on the Epstein case.
Oh gosh.
You want to get into it?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. All right,
do it.
Lizzie, we're gonna say
this
goodbye
was
to
such
you.
A pleasure.
Bye.
for
Thank you so much for
having me.
coming.
Yes, thank you
Where
for
can we
having me.
find you on like Instagram or
Oh,
social if we want to
So
follow you?
It's at the Lizzie Weissman.
Okay. And
Yeah.
we'll tag you in all of
yeah,
our
please
stuff.
tag me. So
Yeah.
yeah, and like obviously, like some of my stand-up stuff is on there still, and hopefully when things are back in action, we'll all be hitting the stage again soon because life's been cray. I got some stories.
I would love it.
Thank you so much
thank
for
you
coming,
having
Lizzie.
me. All right, I'm gonna schwitz out of here.
Yeah,
love it.
Do your
All right,
thing. Okay, cool. So let's jump into this real quick.
Okay.
Now, we don't do a lot of conspiracy theory talk on this show, but sometimes when it's just too insane, we just have to jump into it. All right. So I don't know if you guys aren't caught up, if you don't know what happened. Oh, my buddy Ricky says she was good. Yes, Ricky, she's great. Thank you, sir.
Bye, Lizzie.
But yeah, so anyway, so we're gonna do like another 20 or 30 with this, me and Rach. And so Tony, are you caught up on what
I
happened?
saw that today on the news, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's super intriguing.
Okay, so this is what
Definitely, I
happened.
think
Okay,
it's a hit, yeah.
so I read a lot about it. Okay, so the judge, I think her name was Esther Sala or something like that. I apologize, I don't remember her exact name, but judge in New Jersey, who was tasked with overseeing a court case where a bunch of shareholders or investors are suing Deutsche Bank. And the reason they're suing Deutsche Bank is because Deutsche Bank basically, it seems like they knowingly allowed Jeffrey Epstein ran all of his, or a large amount of his financial transactions through them. And it should have been obvious and flagged that something clearly criminal is going on. And this bank effectively ignored it so that...
Where is the bank located?
Germany.
Yeah. So how
hence-
many other clients do they have that are high profile?
A ton.
Yeah.
Deutsche...
So it wasn't that they knew to flag it. The reason people put their money there is because people don't flag it.
Of course. Now, here's the crazy part. This happened 4 days ago that she was assigned to the case. And I believe 2 nights ago, here we go. So here, check this out real quick. So 2 nights ago, her son... and her son was killed. This is very, very tragic. Somebody dressed as a FedEx delivery driver goes to their house. Husband opens the door. He gets shot. He doesn't die, but he's like mortally wounded. Then her son runs to the door. He gets shot. He's killed. The judge was in the basement. She didn't see this happen. She was downstairs. Driver takes off. So her family is whacked, right? Now... the suspect that they think they linked to the shooting is mysteriously found dead by apparent suicide. So the person that the police are saying is their key suspect is the hitman, kills this judge's family and then shoots himself as a suicide attempt. Like, there's no fucking way. I don't curse in this podcast, I'm sorry. But there's no way that it's so dark and nefarious. Like, obviously, someone from that bank or someone involved set this up. And they killed the guy because he didn't get the judge.
Well, I don't even think it's so much about the bank. I think it has just as much to do with going back to everybody that has a stake in everything that was going on with Epstein in child pedophilia. I don't think that this necessarily has to do specifically with that bank. Like, everybody knows Epstein did not kill himself.
Yeah.
Like,
what were we going to say, Tony?
Oh, I was just going to say, it's like, remember the Dark Knight
Yeah.
Rises? That opening scene with like the clowns killing one another. I'm
Yeah.
supposed to kill the driver, that type of thing where it's like, there's so many people that got so much dirt on them. You know, this guy had to go, make a hit and then miss the mark, and then he got hit. And I'm sure we'll see a lot more of this stuff in the future.
Yeah, you're right. Ricky, I don't buy it either. He doesn't buy it. Yeah, there's no way. Now, who put the hit out? Maybe it wasn't the bank. You're right. It could have been somebody else. But Ghislaine, whatever her name is, the woman that was right, she's claimed that there are people in their like ring that have hard video evidence of major political figures worldwide of like these people having sexual relations with minors.
oh, you mean like Trump or the Clintons?
Yeah, and that's the thing that, I mean, just imagine. Now, first of all, I want to say that always the people who are evil should get everything coming to them. Like, absolutely, that's like needs to happen, and I wish that like that would happen. But like, I do worry like the ramifications if it was exposed that like, imagine if like there really was like a video that got out of like Bill Clinton or Donald Trump or whoever like committing an act of pedophilia, like the ramifications that would have globally would be so shocking. Like, I'm not taking away from the evil.
Well, I mean, that's what's also sad is like the amount of things that we do have of Trump, and everybody's still like saying that like,
of course,
there's still like people still will preface like their thoughts about Trump before like condemning. It's like at this point, like, listen, I hold compassion for everyone. I don't think it's surprising that Trump grew up in the environment that he did and probably was also prone to being a narcissist
Right.
and ended up where he is. Now, that doesn't mean that like I forgive him for his actions, but also we all have reasons why we are the way we are.
Yeah.
It's not shocking
Yeah.
if you know anything about him, why he is the way he is. So he's not a happy person. He's not a joyous person. Like, but I'm just saying where it's like we already have all of that information and people already are so quick to reprogram or reframe when they see things like that because it's easier for them to be like, oh, it's locker room talk, or
Sure.
it's like it was a long time ago, or boys will be boys, or a different generation, rather than being like, oh, the reason we have to pay attention to this stuff is so that we don't perpetuate it. It's that simple.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I feel like we're living in a crossover episode of House of Cards meets Black Mirror.
100%.
Yeah.
We are in a simulation.
Do you remember that first episode of Black Mirror where they basically blackmailed the Prime Minister of England? Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, they basically blackmail the Prime Minister of England and make him have sex with a pig on camera to save the country or something.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is not quite that, but like there really could be a situation where Anonymous or one of those hacker groups leaks all that video out and we just see these like mega powerful world. I mean, I want to preface again. It's horrible what happened, and I don't want that to happen to anyone. But like, if that can finally bring down that those people, like, amen. You know, like.
Well, it's also like I don't think it's that simple. I think it's as simple as like when you are in those circles where everything is available to you, and you know that a girl's younger, but you're not going to ask her. The whole idea is that if they're brought there to like do whatever you say or whatever, like, and again, that's not.
Yeah, Bill Clinton and Trump aren't checking their IDs.
Right. Like, that's not the conversation that's happening of like, oh, so how old are you? Where do you go to school? Like, it's very clear that they are like well-spoken. They're beautiful. Their job is to be there and like be yes women, literally. And so, and sometimes I say job, some of them knew what they were doing, and plenty of them were probably like, you know, either like sex trafficked into something or like promised a better living.
Yeah.
And then you get stuck in something. Like there's a million reasons why. But I just want to point that out of like, if people think there are these videos, and this is a very visceral thing I'm about to say, but like, we're not going to see a video of, you know, like Bill Clinton having, or maybe we would, but like, I don't think it's as visceral as like they were all having sex with 14-year-olds. Maybe some of that was happening, but I think it's like, you know, when you look at all of these people that were incredibly well connected to Epstein, it's way more subtle than that. That's why it's even more dangerous, because this web goes so big. I mean, if you're having somebody like, I mean, this is a legit,
It's
like,
a federal judge.
dark tragedy. Like, if you are willing to, and you, whatever the powers that be, to let something like this go. I mean, I can't even talk about it for too long. Like, the amount of compassion I have for this woman who's lost her son and almost lost her husband. Like,
Yeah, their only kid.
I mean, yeah, I can not even begin to understand what waking up, you know, day after day would feel like for these guys and or for these folks. But I mean, but that should go to show right there that like something is being hidden. And
100%.
where, you know, and that's the thing where it's like, this is not a conspiracy. This is not like, well, I think the world's, you know, actually flat. It's like, well, it's like, no, at this point, if we are logically choosing to not pay attention to what's going on, then we are just perpetuating. I mean, does that mean that we have like access to do something right away to, you know, save it? Not necessarily, but, or to fix it rather. But by choosing to not pay attention to how real this is, I mean...
Yeah, I guess what I'm most curious about is who's behind it. Because, like, to your point, it could have been the bank. It could have been one of the political. It could be like
Absolutely.
It's so hard to know. And like you're right. Like, it's so dark and it's so terrifying because then, and it's also like, what police elements are involved? Like, the key suspect is found dead, and it's just, oh, it was a suicide. Like, what? That just, you guys aren't even going to admit their suspicion. Like, what? You're just going to accept that it was a suicide? This random person just kills this family and then kills himself, and there's no explanation whatsoever? Like, yes, that has happened, but the coincidence is...
No, the only place that has happened is on House of Cards. Like, there's not, like, has happened. Like, that, this wasn't like a random FedEx person who was like, oh, I'm under, like, if all of this was non-connected, that is the biggest coincidence of all time in history.
I mean, to get real serious, what this effectively means is like the death of law and order, because this happens in places like North Korea and Russia where their governments just, you know, hey, listen, if you speak out against the people that really pull
right,
the levers, you die.
but it's also like that's a very naive thought, I think, to even assume that that's not already happening. Like again, that's going back to like this idea of like, of course, in order to protect the most powerful people who make really damaging and awful decisions, of course, so many people are paid off.
Right,
And
but this is the first time in our lifetime that I'm aware of where we've seen it like this. Like we've seen powerful people fall and get sent to prison. Bernie Madoff, Harvey Weinstein. You know, there's other ones that I can't think of at the moment, but it's happened. But like this is the first time that I know of that like something like this, and there's people like the family of a federal judge being executed to keep somebody quiet. Like that is insane. I don't know of any time in our life we've seen this. Like I'm sure people get paid off and stuff, but at this level, I've never heard of this in our country.
That means they definitely have some like deep dirt on.
Yeah,
If
dude.
This whole Epstein thing gets exposed, like the amount of people that would be brought into light, like not just the Clintons, not just the people you know about, but like, you know, if you went into like shadow governments and whatnot and Rothschilds and shit,
Yep.
you better believe all those people are into that stuff too.
Dude, it's like.
But that's what I mean. It would stand to take down an entire tier of people.
And amen. I say good. I mean, I know it's probably not going to happen, but it's about time, right?
Well, you're right. If anonymous or somebody that like, you know, someone that works in the shadows can, because I'm not tech savvy with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm always messing up this podcast.
You're doing great, Tony.
We love having
Not
you
like an
here.
internet sleuth trying to, you know,
Sure,
put things
sure.
together. But did you guys watch Patton Oswalt's wife's thing on HBO?
No, what was it?
No, I want to watch
You gotta
it.
check that out. So it's like,
Is it on Netflix right now? I know it just came out.
I don't know if it's. I think it's still just HBO.
Oh, okay. We've got HBO. Okay,
But
yeah.
like, apparently, so she's like, you know, big into true crime stuff,
Yeah.
right? And she was like, you know, always fascinated by articles, blah blah blah. Reads one about a missing kid in like Ohio, and then like a month later reads a similar case in like a neighboring city, and she's like, I
Oh,
wonder
right,
if these two
yeah.
are connected. And she like she makes some blog. She's a blogger at the time,
Yeah.
and then like she posted about it on a Monday. That Friday, they went to the house where they, you know, the second kid
Yeah.
was suspected to be abducted to. And the first kid that was abducted answers the door, and sure enough, that kidnapper had both kids and shit. And it's like, it's amazing what you can do from your living room with a laptop, right? So why aren't people doing with this connecting the dots with Epstein? You know what I mean? It's
Well, first of all, shout out to, I forget her name, I'm sorry, but the late Mrs.
just
Patton
Michelle
Oswald.
McNamara, I believe.
Yeah, amen to her for doing. Anytime anyone can do something like that for good, it's like we need more of that in the world. But I think, I mean, I don't think I know the people involved with that are truly the most powerful people in the world. I mean, if that doesn't prove there's some kind of deep state, I don't know what other proof you need. You know what I mean? So it's.
Well, last week, Rachel, you were talking about the 13th on Netflix, right? And that's another thing, too, if you haven't seen it, like, really kind of opens your eyes to how corrupt the Clintons are and stuff like that. And, like, don't get me wrong, like, I don't like Trump, but I didn't think Hillary was a good idea either. You know,
Yeah,
to see
right.
how
Right.
they kind of messed up the whole minorities and all that stuff, and people of color being locked away for sentences on trumped-up charges.
Yeah.
But if she's doing that kind of stuff, loading her pockets, and, like, and now her husband's got ties with Epstein, like, yeah, and they've already said she's left people out to dry, you know, from Benghazi and shit. Like, there's just a whole bunch of really interesting stuff that all kind of points back to, you know.
Yeah, I mean, my attitude, I'm a little bit more pessimistic when it comes to like high level politics like that. But I feel like Republican or Democrat, the leadership, they're equally evil. It's just like which party's like platform falls more in line with your personal views. But don't like. Listen, I'm sure there are really good people in politics, and so I'm generalizing here. But at least with those two, the Clintons and the Trumps, don't try and take like which one is more moral. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Like just focus on like which one of them in that realm has like same with Biden. I don't think Biden's like a better person than Trump at all. There's no way, you know. But it's like
Well, I would argue you on that, but
I don't think. I mean, maybe slightly, but like it's nuanced. Like there's semantics. They're both not people that. Anyway, I'll let it go because I'm gonna go on a tangent. But I'm simply saying that I think you have to. I think what we should do.
I'm not saying Biden is a good person. I'm simply saying I feel like Trump has put on such a performance over the last 4 years, and performance or otherwise, he's been performing. I mean, who he is right now is the same person he's been projecting for years and years.
You know
and
who
years.
really put on a performance running for president? Kanye West. Did you see that?
Yeah, you made me watch it.
She watched about 2 minutes. I mean, it was. Did you watch it?
My wife showed me a couple clips.
I will say, and jokes aside, because it's actually not funny, I really do feel terrible for Kanye. He clearly is suffering from some kind of mental.
That's because I told you that. You were trying to make me watch it, and I was like,
Okay,
I don't
and
want to
then you
watch
pointed-
that.
Okay, and then to your credit, you pointed it out. I watched it again with that lens, and I realized, yeah, this is actually very sad because we know someone who's a little manic, and this was way worse. And I was like, yeah, wow, like this person actually needs professional help. Like, I mean,
Well, I was simply saying where I feel like it's gone beyond like I'm like pushing my art and seeing what I can do. I was like, what we're seeing is like a manic episode, but you're just seeing it in somebody who has access to being able to do whatever they want because they're a billionaire. Like that's literally
Well-
the difference where it's like some people's platform is only like social media, so they're constantly updating it or like, making videos or whatever. We're like, that's a little strange, but it's like he literally has the resources to run for president.
the part where he lost me was when he took shots at Harriet Tubman, and I was like, I'm out,
Yeah.
dude. Did you see
Oh,
that?
that's where you got lost?
That was everything else I was like, I'm listening. This is ridiculous, but okay. But then when he was like, did you see what he said?
No, because I stopped watching. I'm not
was
honoring that by watching it.
He was talking
it's a waste
about
of my time.
Harriet Tubman in some context. He's like, well, to be correct, Harriet Tubman didn't free any slaves. She just got them other jobs for other white people. And I was like, all right, Kanye, you know what? If that's what we need to talk about right now, I'm taking a knee on this one. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't even understand what the stance on that is. Is that pro-black or anti? I don't know. I don't even understand.
It was just kind of stream of
Well,
consciousness.
You remember he was quoted a couple years ago in saying that there was no such thing as slavery, right? So he's off the charts crazy in that
Well,
thing.
so he didn't exactly say that. He said that slaves they could have left if they chose, but they chose not. But the thing is, it's someone, and I remember this because he said it at TMZ, and we both actually used to work there at separate times. He got in an argument with Van, and he and Van were going at it. Van Lathan, who was a former TMZ staffer, very interesting and funny guy. But it was something to the effect of that slavery was a choice. It was a mindset, and if black people chose to leave that mindset, and what he was trying to say is that and I'm quoting him, paraphrasing. I'm obviously in no position to speak for
I mean, I feel like it's pretty clear what he was saying. I don't think I need your interpretation of what he was saying. I feel like it's pretty clear.
Well, what I'm saying is what Kanye has been very vocal about is that black folks should not just fall in line with Democratic leadership because they're told to. They should have free thought and make their own decisions and not be manipulated. That's what I think he was going for, but it didn't really. Again,
why do you feel that way based off of what he said?
well, because he said that also. He said that many times, and that he's talked about how he feels that political leadership keeps, especially from the left, tries to keep black people in a victimhood mindset so they remain dependent on thinking that their only shot at having any future is going with the Democrats, when in reality they're just manipulating black people for their own gain. They don't actually care about the black community, and black people shouldn't just have monolithic thought falling in line with the Democratic Party.
Interesting. So is he a Republican? Because,
Well,
remember when he was on air with Mike Myers and said George Bush does not care about black people?
No, I don't think
That's still one of my favorite things that I ever
Mike
saw.
Myers' face.
Yeah.
That, I mean, I could not imagine. I just could not imagine.
What would you do if you were Mike Myers in that situation?
I probably would have done the same thing Mike Myers did. Because we weren't necessarily having, now we're so used to having these conversations, which is
Sure.
great. But I don't feel like any of it really, or at least in me, in my circles, it doesn't catch me off guard to have a
Right.
conversation about race or be challenged about my thoughts on it, etc. But at that time, we were not having those conversations.
Yeah, fair. You're
So,
right.
of course, I probably would have responded the same way.
So maybe Kanye was the impetus to start having these hard talks about race.
I'm
and-
not giving Kanye West
Okay.
that.
All right. Well, anyway, that was just, again, I'm not. The whole point of this tangent was that as funny as it was to laugh at, look at what Kanye's doing, it actually is kind of sad.
But
and
I also think that, I don't know, I know I'm of course, no one is surprised by hearing me say this, but it's also the more you indulge that behavior or whatever, the more it just precipitates it. And I
Yeah.
just I know that we have this concept of being on our phones where it's oh, it doesn't matter. It's a guilty pleasure or what a wild ride or whatever. But just throwing it out there of be mindful of what you click on, be mindful of because there are money that's being paid every time you
Yeah.
click on things. There are people it's in the same way of pay attention to where you're spending your money.
Yeah.
Because I feel right now we are even more on the precipice of we're right here and we're about to go down or we're about to flip to something different. And obviously the wealth gap is astronomical at this point,
It's about
and
to
like
get
it's about to get so much worse
Yeah.
that it's like even as something as like where you are clicking, like that's to me like I still don't understand the Kardashian like obsession. I just don't get it. But I mean, I understand, but it's also like I just want to look at people and be like, if you invest in your own life, you'll also be excited about your life, and then don't have to like watch people with vocal fry just like try on outfits. But the point
That's
being,
what it should be called. People with vocal fry try on outfits.
that's all it is. That's literally all it
That's
is.
all,
But just saying of like, and I'm not saying you have to give up everything that like you're, like that you enjoy watching for pleasure. I'm not saying like absolve yourself of all pleasure. I'm simply saying be aware of your clicks, where you spend your time on apps. Like I know it seems like it's your Facebook, but it's like people are making money based off of what you click on. And I don't think that people really realize that. So it's like when you're watching all of those videos over and over, but you're like hate watching it, you're just putting more money in their pockets.
So on the Facebook thing, a friend of mine said, and he said this changed his life, and I'm thinking about doing it. He said he kept his Facebook. He uses it to like promote his podcast and stuff, but he unfollowed literally everything in his feed except for his own podcast. So when he opens it, he only sees the stuff that he goes to someone's specific page, like a family member or something, and he just literally like everything that pops up, he just unfollow, and he said it changed his life. He's like, dude, I'm so much happier. I like people more now. I just don't get like, he doesn't do any other social media really. But I'm thinking about doing that. I'm really thinking about just removing everything from my Facebook and only having it as like a tool to promote this stuff here.
Yeah.
But then if everybody does that, I guess it would crash and burn. So,
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of people that I enjoy following. I feel like again, with this idea of like intentionality, I feel like I've taken a very like intentional approach to my Instagram. So there's like plenty of people that I'm watching that I find like inspirational, or I'm learning from, or they're just like a beautiful like illustrator. And so like I'm seeing a lot of art, because we are so used to having our phones now, and it is a reality that unless you go off the grid, like you need a phone.
yeah.
So it's like, what are the ways in which we can still operate in the society that we live in now, while also choosing, like literally choosing your own adventure of like, you don't have to follow everyone. And just because people are famous doesn't mean that they know dick. And, it's like,
yeah, that absolutely.
that's the thing that like sometimes, I mean,
even Zac Efron.
there are certain, there's certain like people that I've been following for a while. And then like after seeing like their content over and over, I was like, why am I following like, oh, please don't drink that so close to the mic. That is
could you
awful.
hear that?
Good
Oh, sorry.
God, that's awful.
Was it bad, Tony?
Oh, that's my life all the time.
Some ASMR. I'm very loud. I'm very clumsy. I know. Yeah, Ricky says curate your own stuff. Thank you, Ricky. By the way, shout out to Ricky on my buddy Ricky. Ricky Rants. I think he's still doing a show. It's a great. You know what I will say this about my Facebook feed. I have a lot of very progressive, very liberal friends. My buddy Ricky here with Ricky Rants is one of them. And then I have a lot of pretty conservative friends, like my friend Steve, who has his podcast, Things Police See. And I think it's really, for me, I'll just speak for myself, I found a lot of value in maintaining relationships with friends that I know that are like, they're decent guys, or they're good people, they're interesting, they have good intentions, and they're so politically differently minded. It reminds me, hey man, people think differently about certain things in the world, but honestly, like most of us are good people. We just kind of don't see eye to eye on some stuff. So just remember, like when you see something, you're like, those people believe this and that. Just take a second and be like, all right, you're seeing a snippet of something on the media, right? But like, I guess what I'm just saying is I like remembering that like both of these guys, this is an example, have shared stuff that I'm like, I really don't agree with that at all. But because I know them, I'm like, yeah, but they're still decent folks. We just don't agree on everything, and that's okay. We can still get along. We all live here in the U.S.
Yeah.
No thoughts?
I don't know. I'm kind of over America.
Really?
Yeah,
Where do you
a
wanna
little
go?
bit. I just mean like the more that I've like continued to educate myself, and it's not necessarily America. I mean, it's any like, government or idea, but like, okay, again, going back to Zac Efron. But they have
Really?
the initiative.
Do you even want to marry me? Do you want to marry Zac Efron?
You're my own Zac Efron. You get that tan skin. You got those piercing eyes.
I gotta get back in shape, dude. I'm trying to drop a good 10 right now.
But no, I don't want to marry Zac Efron. I just found what
No.
I liked the mission. I don't feel like anything I've said was like,
I'm kidding.
ugh, I want to like crack eggs on his ribs, on his abs. Like clearly I wasn't that invested with his like,
I'm being silly.
physical prowess. But anyway, Paris has this whole initiative where they changed over their drinking water to from a what?
I just laughed because when you said Paris has this whole initiative, and I immediately thought Paris Hilton had some initiative she was pushing, and I was like about to comment. I was like, oh, thank God. Yeah.
No, anyway, just the whole initiative of they took their water distribution from a private sector, and now they just have it in like one public offering, and they have like completely clean drinking water available. They have over like 500 like drinking fountains or something all over the city. So no matter
Why can't we do that
if
in
you
Flint,
live
Michigan?
on like
I know.
that's my point.
Yeah.
But also they've figured out like because the amount of like waste that we have through bottles of water, they don't sell bottles of water, but you can actually buy an empty, like you could buy one of these that's recyclable.
That I dig.
And so you
Recyclable?
recycle whatever. Sorry, I'm getting hungry and tired.
Okay.
But
we'll wrap up soon.
that you could go and like get one of these, and then they also have like sparkling water, which is just the same water, but they've added CO2, and you could literally jump off your bike and just like put your
Okay.
regular, like you could put your bottle up there and like fill up your water and away
Listen,
you go.
you know me, I've always kind of, not been a big fan of France, which is totally unfair. I've never been there. I don't know any French people.
Yeah, you have anxiety that you're going to go and they're going to say something anti-Semitic.
Well, and they don't love America either.
Yeah,
to
why would
generalize.
they?
I can't actually argue with you anymore. You're right. Like, yeah, it's fair. Yeah. Okay, my point is though, that is pretty cool.
But yeah,
Sparkling water on tap?
I just mean that listen, and I know when people are like, people get so, when you make any sort of, here's the other problem. To make any sort of like, not even a disparaging comment, but
Yeah.
simply being like, hey, if we keep saying we're the best, why are there places that don't have drinking water? Why don't we have enough polling places? Why did we like have, basically like a school to jail, like, funneling
School to
systems?
prison
Why,
pipeline,
like,
you're saying,
yeah, like there are all these things that we're
Yeah.
doing and we claim. And so it's like, I know some people that I know that are very patriotic and get really upset if you say something. And I'm like, you don't have a true relationship if you can't make a critique. And that's how I feel.
I
If you are
agree.
blindly following anything, I have no business of wanting to participate with you, because it's like we have a lot of major issues. I mean, yeah, it's like people are always like, our freedom, people work for your freedom. And it's like, yeah, I'm not discrediting that. But also like,
What character was that?
I don't know. I'm just saying that it's also like there's plenty of other countries that like you have your freedom. You are like free to like, I don't
Sure.
know where this concept
And there's
is
a lot
that
of
it's
countries
like,
where you don't. So
I understand that. I'm
yeah.
not comparing us to like, communist China, but I'm saying that it's like this
You hear that,
heralding,
China?
but this heralding that we do of
I understand.
America. And it's like, yeah, dogs, there's like a lot of things we're not doing right.
So can I comment on that and then we'll get out of here?
Yeah.
So to my previous point of why I really try to maintain, friendships with people that disagree with me on some stuff is that I feel like a lot of folks would be willing to either A, admit that there's a lot of work left to do, or admit, yeah, America's done some pretty great things. But because the opposing side is so hardcore about either, like it's gotten to the point where it's so binary. If you're right leaning, it's like America's the best, we're always the best, we'll always be the best. Or the left is like, America sucks, everything sucks, burn it all down. And it's like, we're in the middle, obviously. Anyone with intelligence can understand that there's a lot of work to do, and we've done a lot for progress as well. And like, because
But
there,
also like clean drinking water shouldn't be like a partisan issue.
I understand that. I'm simply saying because it's become so binary that people who lean either way, they don't want to like give an inch because it's like, oh, well now it's like people feel like, well, if I admit that there's a lot of work we got to do with like police reform and different things, then they feel like they're almost saying destroy
But that's
democracy.
why I try to have a lot of conversations with people that starts with like, well, tell me more about that. Because a lot of times, like people, in the same way I've tried to, there was a friendship of mine that's very near and dear to my heart. And we have kind of been like missing each other in a way. And like, I was finding I was like building up a lot of anger. And when I was like confronting the situation with her and I was like feeling all of these, like I was feeling like very intense anger. And then it was like, okay, slow it down. And I was like, let me tell you the story that I'm creating in my head. So this is the information I have. This is the story I've made up based off of this information.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, humans do that all the time. We do that with our political beliefs. We do that with so many things. So it's like sometimes people don't even realize why they hold a truth to be evident. Like they like it's as simple as
Sure.
so sometimes it's like, yeah, we're not going to get anywhere when you're like, punching somebody over the head with like your own thought. Anyway, all of this is simply to say, and what I get frustrated where it's like, the idea of, progress of like, anti-racism work or like immigration, things with ICE, all of that. Those are very like political things and also humanitarian. But there's also certain things where, I mean, again, the amount of money and the billionaires that we have, and I'm not saying that because they made a lot of money, it's their job to save everybody, but also like, what you gonna do with that money, fool?
I mean,
so
yeah.
Like the fact that like water at this point shouldn't be a thing that we're all like, where do we get it? Like, that's just, there are certain things that are so simple to me that I'm just like, I know I get very angry about them and very passionate about them, but it's just because they're so rudimentary and fixable that it's just ass backwards.
There's something like where I forget the exact stat, but it's something like the 7 richest people in the world could give away like 95 or something, 98% of their wealth and still be richer than everybody else below them. Like if they all did it collectively, gave away like 95% of their wealth, they're still the 7 richest people in the world.
Wow.
Well, that's just where I feel like I'm like, what is, did you guys see that photo of Zuckerberg with all that sunscreen on his face boogie boarding?
Did you see this?
Yeah.
He looks like a mime. Dude, Google that right now. Pull it up. He looks like...
We got to end on this. You guys know I love pulling Zuckerberg's leg.
If you're just listening
Mark,
right now...
if you're listening, you're a riot, and keep it up, because what are you doing? One of just the smartest minds, and
now, to be fair...
Dare I say dumb.
Now, hold on. I will say, sometimes when you throw a filter on a picture, it can make something pop that wasn't totally like that. So, Tony,
sure,
you see
but
it?
I still stand by my... Wait, can you put the picture...
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Look at that.
Yeah.
What?
If you're just listening, just Google Mark Zuckerberg sunscreen fail.
click on that one where that side by side.
Yeah, it's the Joker. It's whoever that is. I don't remember the actor, but
It's Jack Nicholson.
Is it Nicholson? No, it's not Jack Nicholson. It's the Joker. Is
I think
it?
it's the 60s one, right?
Yeah, that's the 60s one.
Oh,
That was when the Joker was like, he was like, I'm gonna,
So he
throw
was the
pizzas at
Joker,
the mayor.
Yeah.
And then like Heath Ledger's Joker's like, I'm gonna murder people. But the old Joker was like silly.
yeah.
The old Joker just did like annoying pranks.
Some might call him a joker.
And on that note, guys, we're gonna wrap up
Guys,
here.
thank you so much again, and shout out again to Lizzie Weissman, who we love so much for coming on the
Thank
pod.
you, Lizzie.
This was so lovely to have you again. She was the reason we met, babe.
I know.
We're 3 months out from getting married. What are your
owe,
thoughts?
We owe Lizzie a lot.
We do.
If it wasn't for her, it's very unlikely we would have met.
Well, we missed each other at TMZ by 6 months, so I think the universe was conspiring to make
Amen.
sure we met.
Good riddance.
Well, speaking of, next week, do we have our confirmed? Can we tease who we've got coming next week?
I'm pretty sure he's confirmed. He'll be on at some point. Are also one of our former coworkers from TMZ, Kevin Dalton, who is currently running for mayor of LA. This is not a joke. It's 100% true, and I think he would do a great job.
Yeah, I'm so... he was literally one of my favorite bosses. I'm so excited to just be able to, just tell him all my praises that I have for him, hear about all of his ideas for California.
So on that note, if you guys have any questions you want us to ask Kevin Dalton, the future mayor of LA, next episode, please send them to me. You can send them to @AlexGetlin or @HouseRulesPod or @Rachel LaForce. You know how to reach us. We would love to throw some of those questions at Kevin. Tony, thank you again. Any stuff you want to plug or mention? Or
No, but you can follow me at Tony Klein Comedian on Instagram and the rest of the social medias. And thanks for having me here to engineer.
Did you post any photos
Dude,
of your
it's
son
great.
walking yet? Or was it just one
It
step?
was like literally one step, and my wife was in the shower. So yeah, she was not.
So she doesn't know. What if this
She
was
should
how she
know.
found out? She's like, Tony!
What the? Yeah, it was like it was the cutest thing, and I was like, obviously audible about it. I'm like, oh my god! And she's like, what happened? I'm like, you took like a step. And she's like, oh, right when I'm showering. So
Yeah.
there it goes.
I love it. Well, you guys, thank you so much for listening. As always, please subscribe, do all the things. You know what to do. We are toying around with putting out some more content, beefing some stuff up.
We've got some mini series in the works you guys are gonna like.
We are taking full advantage of this corona pandemic and all of the time available to us to bring you all sorts of good stuff. But we love you so much, and we'll see